Welcome into another edition of Kickin It. This is a very in my heart. It's one of my favorite Kickin It's. As our guest, as you probably read in the title. I don't have to do this as a mystery.
Who's on this week, Joe?
Who's on this week? It's probably the guy in the title that you clicked on, Yancy McKnight. He was the strength coach for my entire time that I was there. It's three of your 4 years was with Yancey. One of just the best human beings of all time. Had a few technical difficulties, so if the sound, I think Aiden's going to do a little bit of correcting after we get done. But if the sound's a little bit off, we had some technical difficulties, so apologize for that. But just one of my favorite human beings. So as always, we are brought to you by Kelderman Manufacturing, Kelderman.com. We're going to be fairly quick with this introduction because Yancey is just the best. So Grant, happy Memorial Day as we record this.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day to you as well, too, Jeff.
As well, too, additionally. In much the same way.
Whatever, too. Also, yeah, just had a nice weekend, nice and relaxing. Bought some rollerblades. So
that's a thing.
Yeah, if you see me rollerblading, I might rollerblade here next.
Are you going to wear just spandex shorts?
Yes,
please do.
Yes. If you think I've got a stock stuffed in there, I might. So, question for you. Actually, not a question for you. So, last week we had A-Rob on, and I want to tell you the story. I'm not sure if you know the full details of it. So we had A-Rob ask, what are some memories, some good, bad memories? One of the games he brought up was 2010 Nebraska. So I don't know if you knew this, Jeff. It's kind of some fun that I saw some listeners talking about it, after the episode. The fake PAT that was called in 2010 in the overtime game versus Nebraska, where could have won it. I don't know if you knew this. That play was actually called earlier in the game when I attempted the 57-yarder and made it. Did you know that? That was the play call?
I did not know that was called earlier.
So the 57-yarder was called. Coach Rhodes called it. Nebraska was in like a safe. They had, guys that were kind of all over 10, 15 yards down. It was supposed to be, we had two fakes set in for that week. That one, it was on the left hash. And so the fake we were going to run was going to be an option where Keel pitched it to me. And then I threw it to, I don't know, whoever the tight end was running a drag. I think it was Hollywood, Colin Franklin running a drag. I was going to throw it to him for first down, but the defense was in prevent, whatever. So I went out and kicked the 57-yarder, made it. And then that's when we called it again in overtime.
Is this like the Pat McAfee, Troy Polamalu story?
Polamalu? Time out. Polamalu?
That's what Pat McAfee says.
Okay.
That's part of the joke.
Okay. I'm unaware of this joke.
Where they were going to run a fake, and then Troy Polamalu, I can't not say it like that now.
Momchilovich.
Yeah. Was like right in the spot where he wasn't supposed to be. And they just call out, "We're kicking it. We're not faking anymore. We have to kick it."
So ours, Coach Rhodes had called it, and he called a timeout. And then he was like, "Well, they're in safe. So you're going to attempt a 57-yarder. I said, "Let's go." I love the big dog eat. That's that. So something kind of fun, something kind of interesting that, behind the scenes that maybe listeners didn't know. You didn't know, obviously. So.
I didn't know that because I wasn't on field goal yet.
You weren't, but you were one of the first persons from the sideline to come give me a hug after that kick. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
kicking it, man. Always love the kickers. Respect the kickers. One thing before we get started into the actual recording, this is new. So Coach Rhodes posted this. Those that know of Coach Rhodes, his dad Cecil was always around. At practice, I always remember he would give like a handshake and would grab your elbow while I was giving you a handshake.
Amazing man.
Great man. Well, Cecil passed away. The funeral details or the service details will be upcoming, and I don't know necessarily if it's going to be open to the public or if it's sort of whatever. But just some notes. If you had any interactions with Coach Rhodes or Cecil or the family, I know that would be a positive note, and in this time would be nice to be sent to him. So. Even if it's just a tweet, of just a positive thing to the Rhodes family. So anyway, just great man, but he was. I mean, it's one of those things. If I could live a life that Cecil lived, I would die a happy man. That being said, hard transition into one of the greatest people that we have had the pleasure of interacting with, Yancy McKnight, the strength coach at Iowa State that we both had, and is just an absolute delight.
All right, so now we welcome in the greatest strength coach I've ever had, and one of the best coaches I've ever had too, Yancy McKnight. Yancey, how you doing? Thanks for joining us today. Perfect. So, do you want to start off?
So the thing that just because this is an Iowa State podcast on Cyclone Fanatic, you were there from the time that Rhodes got there until 2014, 15, when you went with Herman to Houston, went sometime in that span?
Yeah, so 2014, after the 2014 seasons, when I left Iowa State.
Okay.
For the 2015 season.
So one of the things that I find really interesting about coaching generally is it's all about relationships, and it's not like, you don't post an Indeed resume and then hope that someone hires you. You have to know somebody. So what brought you to Iowa State in the first place? Because you came with Rhodes. So I would think that that's some relationship with Rhodes, but it might be with somebody else. So how did you get to Iowa State in the first place?
So it's kind of interesting, actually. So I was at Rice at the time, working for David Bailoff. He was our head coach, and Herm was on our staff as the offensive coordinator, and he was going to Iowa State. And so he hit me up, asked me if I was interested. I said yes, and then it was, as crazy as it sounds, it was Chris Ash, Bill Blau, and Herm that recommended me to Paul. I didn't know Paul at all. I knew of him, but we didn't have a direct working relationship, or we never even spoke to each other. But Bill, Coach Blau worked. He was the head coach of Western Carolina, and one of the guys I worked with at Louisiana Tech, Patrick Moore, worked for Coach Blau at Western Carolina. Chris Ash, his roommate in college, is a guy named Brendan Daly, who's the linebacker coach for the Kansas City Chiefs now. BD and I worked together at Oklahoma State, and so those were the recommendations that got to Coach Rhodes for me. And then Coach Rhodes and I actually met in Houston, and spent about 4 hours. Literally interviewing with him and going through every single thing as far as what the plan was, what he wanted, what his vision was, and what I was going to do. And I just signed a I was going to finish my last year at Rice on my contract, and so I could have stayed. And it's kind of one of those deals. I really wasn't gonna. We had just had Brock. Brody was 2 years old. Brock was 2 months old, and so I wasn't like looking. I really wasn't. It was just kind of one of those deals that kind of popped up, and once I did some investigating, a little bit more digging on Coach Rhodes a little bit too, just him. And then when I met with him and talked to him, it was something. Even with the situation at Iowa State at that time, because
we were shitty. Yeah, it was shitty. Like you could, the previous 2 years were not good.
I don't think they hadn't won a road game in a while. I think our first road win was 2009 at Kent State. That was the first win I think Iowa State had in 2 years or something like that. So period. So it wasn't like it was, it was a Big 12 job. But I remember Bailiff said one of the funniest things to me. I said, well, it's a Big 12 opportunity. Because he was telling me, not to leave. He didn't want me to leave. And they were going to give me another 3-year deal, on a contract to stay at Rice. So it wasn't like I was, it was a little bit more money. Not a ton, but a little bit. Bailiff said to me, I said, well, it's a Big 12 job. And he said, well, not really. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's, the Big 12 is really the Big 4 and the Little 8. And I was like, okay, I get what you're saying. But, after meeting with Coach Rhodes and just, and then seeing the staff he was putting together, I knew it was going to be the right move for us. It was going to be tough, though, because like I said, when Brock was literally, he was born in November, and this was January, February, or late January, February, and this going on. So, yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, it was really wild. Because like I said, I didn't, it was a unique situation. I didn't know.
Yeah, you knew basically Herman Blau.
Yeah, Herman, Ball, and Ash. Those are three guys that, I didn't know Chris either. And I didn't know Bill. But those guys, the guys I work with in other jobs, jump on the table for me. So
Yeah. That was one thing I think people don't realize. And I mean, we can speak to it from the player side, and you can obviously speak to it from the coach's side. For my money, the most important, there's a reason why it's like the strength and conditioning coordinator, like that term coordinator. Your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your strength conditioning are your three most important hires. And then everybody else, you got to have some good recruiters amongst that staff, because of all the people that we spent the most time with, your coaches are out recruiting. So during the season, you spend a lot of time with your position coaches with, because you're a specialist, Grant spent a lot of time with Coach Rhodes, but I mean, I didn't spend much time with Rhodes, spent a lot of time with Coach Pope, but every day out of all the days that you're on campus, which is like 50 out of 52 weeks in a year, you're spending with the strength staff. And I think that what a lot of people don't understand is how important, not just from a getting people stronger standpoint, but how much of the culture of your program gets developed in the weight room. Who are some influences that you had that were able to kind of build the culture that you had? Because for those that don't know, we've kind of teased the fact of upcoming guests, and we had Alexander Robinson last week. We had Steele Jansen on a couple weeks ago. So we've had people on, and when we were teasing this, it was workouts like balls, and that thing.
Like that brick wall over there, I ain't gonna change.
The thing that was great about Yancey's weight room is that you knew what to expect. There's no favoritism. There's no, this guy was a highly rated recruit. This guy was a walk-on. This guy was a whatever. If you show up and you work hard, the strength staff is going to jump on the table for you, regardless of how good you are on the field. Is that just your disposition? But kind of back to that, who were people that were kind of the people that trained you or your kind of role models towards how that program was? Because that was a saving grace for me as a walk-on, as I knew that if I got into the weight room and I ran faster and pushed my ass and got under the bar and did that, I knew that I was going to get respect from that room. So where did that come from for you?
I did this a little bit untraditional. When I got done playing, my best friend, actually the guy that I work for now, Gino Pierce. Gino and I played together in Minnesota, and we both got in college. I was still training. I still had some stuff going on football-wise, but we came to Dallas, and we started a company called the Ames course, and we were 23 years old. And it was a branch out of Edmond, Oklahoma. That's where Gino's from. So we came to Dallas actually and started this strength and conditioning company called Ames course, and now it's called Performance course. So I did that, and Gino and I started that in DFW. We literally started with Allen. Before Allen was anything, this was when Todd Graham was there.
Started with Allen. For those that don't know Allen, high school stadium with Allen right now is 40,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. But Allen wasn't in 1996, 1997. Allen wasn't even. It isn't what it is now, I can say that. So we started off with Allen, Rockwall, and Crandall, 3 schools, and then we built it into, I think in the DFW area, 35 schools last year, and there was 30 plus in Austin and about 25 in Houston. So then go on in West Texas. So we had a massive deal going on. It wasn't really it was kind of one of those things, you know when things are, I guess you see things, you know things, you smell things, you got to make moves. You don't feel like something's going right. You got to jump off that shit because that shit's sinking. So I want to get back, and I want to get to college. And so I had a couple dudes I played with, Brad Cole Nelson and Justin Roberts at Oklahoma State at Virginia at that time. Brad's his offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, all that stuff. He played there in college. So I went actually and took about a $60,000 pay cut and left Ames course and went to Oklahoma State. I still got my check. I was making a whopping $720 after taxes per month. My first year at Oklahoma State. So
that's 720. That's not 720 and some zero. It's just 720.00.
Yes, 720 bucks a month. That's what I've been making my homestead. So my first year, that's for Coach Miles. And so I went there, chasing an opportunity, you know what I mean? And so, I started a performance course. Performance course is massive in Texas. I don't know if anyone knows anything about high school athletics, name a school and performance course trains them, So, anyway, that's an untraditional route per se. And so I went to Stillwater, Oklahoma State. I was there about a month as a GA. And got on to a full-time assistant position, but I still was making the same money. They didn't kick me over until the fiscal year was over in June. So that's how it goes. But literally, I think 6 months, not even 6 months on the job, I was assistant director in January, and I was still making $720 a month. So Gary Calcagno was initially Dan Austin was our head strength coach when I first got there. I was kind of doing a dual role. I was doing an O-line skill. I was an O-line skill coach, and I was also an assistant strength coach. So I actually sat in meetings and things like that, position meetings. So it was pretty interesting deal for me. So I would say, really my job, the performance, the Ames course when I first got into this thing, I was training, 6th grade kids, high school kids. I did some college guys every once in a while, some NFL prep guys, males, females, all kinds of different sports. And I can say this: if you can coach middle school kids in the weight room, you can coach anybody.
Yes, sir. Because that's what I'm doing now. So it's a couple gyms up in Des Moines, and the group, if you can, junior high kids. God damn. This is my experience with them is that their number one goal is to be cool, and effort generally is not cool. So effort is not what you're going to get. And so you're just trying to you have to motivate the kids with something of being cool. So you have to trick them into working hard. And so, man, junior, I love working with the younger kids. Great. Because just make it fun. High school kids, they're driven. You can push them. Fine. Junior high kids, man. God damn. I love the fact you said if you can coach junior high kids, you can coach anybody.
Yeah. If you can do that, you can coach anybody. But I knew I wanted to be in college. I wanted to go back. I missed it. There's something about it, and you guys know this. And I used to say this to you guys all the time. You will be 30-some years old, and there will be things about football that practice. Bleh. The grind and all that stuff. You don't miss practice. I don't miss practice. There's nothing about it that's fun. But you miss the locker room. You miss hanging out in the locker room. You miss pre-lift, just bullshitting with the guys. All that stuff. That's the stuff you miss, and there's camaraderie there, and there's a journey. It's a 3-4 year journey for some. Some it's 5. Some it's maybe it's a JC guy. It's 2 years. I don't know, but that's what I missed. When I was doing the Ames course, I'd be with the kids for 2 months. I might see them a little bit more after that, but I was just it's kind of a short-term deal, and I wanted that. I wanted to be on a journey with the guys, and so that's why I jumped off back into college and took a massively. We were in a pretty nice house, and it was Stillwater. It was not
cost of living in Stillwater can't be that high. $720 that covers most of gas.
Back then, yeah. So that was literally the way but see, when I got down there, I met Todd Graham, Todd Dodge, Randy Allen, the Poe brothers, Don and Ron Poe. These guys are legendary, coaches, and I work for them. And I training their kids and stuff like that. You want to meet with them. I'm 24 years old, and I'm going in and meeting with, Todd Dodge, about running the summer program, you know what I'm saying? Those are things, and running those things with those guys. doing that type of stuff, down here especially. I mean, it definitely, I thought college was easy compared to what I was doing, at Ames course before I got into college. I mean, it's a way more controlled situation. So Gary did a great job. Calcagno, Dan was our head strength coach for just a little bit. Then he made a change at right after the 2002 season. And then Gary got the job, Calcagno. And Gary's still there, I think. Still works wrestling and football. And Gary was great. Gary gave me a ton of freedom. I wrote the workouts for the most part. And then even did some of the NFL prep stuff too with him. And any NFL guys that came back that working. So Gary gave me a ton of freedom. And that helped me a ton. The one thing that I will say this, he taught me a bunch was coaching on the floor. Like, coach every single minute, if it's leg curl, coach it. Coach it as hard as you coach a concrete. And so, and he said the guys deserve that. The guy that comes in and trains, it doesn't matter who it is, they deserve you coaching them from the minute they walk in to the minute they leave. And, as an O-line guy, previously, I get that. I totally, it made total sense to me, as far as mentality and all that stuff. And I took that and ran with it, and then, I was only at Oklahoma State not even 2 years, and then I got a head job at Louisiana Tech. So from a mentor standpoint, it was me for the most part, And I learned some hard lessons, and I did dumb stuff, and but the one thing I did, I just kept, just keep studying and keep learning and keep trying to surround yourself with good people, staff-wise. And I look back on my staffs, I say mine, but I look at our staffs that we had at Iowa State, our strength staffs, and man, those are good dudes. Some really good.
Because from that tree, if I'm not mistaken, because Dietrich's out at Stanford, is EA still at Tulsa?
No.
Okay, and then Rod Grace, is he still at Houston?
No, he's actually he's a head guy at South Alabama.
Okay, so he's at USA now, and then there's CO, man, your right hand man.
Yeah, what's CO doing?
Can we get the Harry and Lloyd together of where you hooked up with CO? Because they're y'all had the same guiding principle, which is that everybody is the same in here, no matter what. But the way you went about that, totally different. Where having a conversation with you was way easier than having a conversation with CO, because CO was just get the whatever.
Not for us specialists. CO would take us specialists out and have us do tackling drills, and he'd be like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing here.
So how did you and CO get hooked up? Just because for us, that it was Yance and CO, and then guys like EA and Rod were there, and Brulette, guys like that were there, but it was Yance and CO, and then everybody else.
So CO, it's funny, man. I got an email. I was at Rice. This is 06. I'm looking for, we didn't have a ton of people. I had some I just was looking for interns and stuff like that. So anybody that emailed me something that want to come in and help, I'm like, yeah, man, come on, I'll take anybody. And so I get an email from CO, and he was actually Adam Beauchamp was one of my assistants. Beauchamp's a great new football guy. Champ, he hit me and he's like, hey, man, I think this guy you're looking at. I'm like, what's he doing? He's like, oh, he's looking up in Cypress, up in northwest side of Houston. He wants to come in the mornings and work. I'm like, hell yeah, man, I'll take anybody who wants to come in. So I hit CO up and like, hey, man, what days? He's like, I can come in 3 days a week, come from 6 to noon. I go back up to Velocity. He was working at Velocity up in Cypress. And he would do that from 3 to 11 or something at night. So I'm like, hell yeah, man. I'll take anybody wants to do that shit, work those hours and not get paid. I'm like, hell yeah. So CO came literally that first semester, 2006. And luckily we got some spots popped up. And it was kind of wild. So I went to Tulsa with Coach Grant for about 10 days and then went back to Rice with Bailiff. It was pretty wild. So CO, right when I got back, I hired CO, and then another guy, Scott McClaughlin, he was an assistant. He was a student assistant for me at La Tech. He's the head guy at UMass, and I've been DC, Colorado State. So those two guys were there with me there. And so that's how I hired CO. Literally just an email.
Straight up email.
You know, and
It's like a farmer who had a dog who had puppies, and it was just like, you want some of these puppies? Like, that's pretty much it. It's just how CEO happened.
I mean, that's you know. So I always tell all the guys too, like, work for them, like, man, just, like, answer people's email. You never know what, you know. I mean, I could have just deleted it and moved on. And, I'd have never met CEO. So, you know, and he's, I mean, I'll say he's one of the best strength coaches I've ever worked with. Mindset, creativity, thought process as far as linking your speed, agility, and plyometric stuff with your strength, all the stuff. It's I mean, the fact that he's doing what he's doing right now is insane. But that's him. That's the other. You know, he's low key.
So he used to take us specialists and we do like tackling drills because we had to, you know. And one thing I love about you and CO is that when you're in the weight room, like you're hard ass and like let's get to it. And then as soon as we're done, like not that you were like off the clock, but it's you're more shooting the shit with us. And so CO one time, I think I've told the story on here before. One time we were out doing tackling drills and we look over and CO is like bent over like on his hands and knees, like smelling the painted lines. We're like, CO, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just seeing if the paint's fresh. Just, when I was younger, we used to take spray paint in a brown bag and spray it and then huff it. We're in the middle of practice, man. So, yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you, Yancey, is when we were all at Iowa State together, we had some big wins. At Nebraska 2009, we beat Texas for the first time ever. At Texas, beat Iowa at overtime, and then obviously the Oklahoma State game. When a team like Iowa State, like you mentioned, who just dog shit for so long, when they have big upsets like that, what does that mean to a coach, especially a strength coach who, like Jeff has said, we're with you at all times for the most part throughout the year, and you're the one who's shaping and molding all the guys who are playing.
This is weird because I think you guys know me. Like on Sunday, I could give a shit.
Absolutely true.
That's true.
Absolutely true.
I'll be honest with you, I was probably way tougher on Sunday for one. I think you're trying to knock her right back down and pull them back down. Like, hey, this thing starts over. I think it was always cool just because what goes into this process, man. Like, it is just, and the outsiders, like, the guys that, they show up on Saturday morning and the tailgate and they're doing the thing, and, they're mad if you lose. If you don't win by enough, they're pissed off. Sometimes depends on how much money they put on the game, probably. But they don't know. They don't understand what goes on, and it ain't just on Saturday. It's what you do when no one's watching. And that's so I know, and that's not my moment though. Saturday's not my moment. Never was. You never see me waving a towel. You never see me running out in the front of the tunnel. It's about the players. I laugh, man. It's like this. I laugh because I just think it's bullshit. I'm a strength coach. On Saturday, what am I doing on Saturday? I don't call no plays. I don't say who plays, who doesn't. I mean, you know, we do some stretching stuff pre-game, keep guys hyped, all that stuff, or keep guys engaged, whatever. I mean, I don't, you know, it's. I think the strength coach gets too much credit and gets too much blame. But for me, I mean, on Saturdays, I think it was just cool seeing it's like Nebraska. I tell people this all the time, like to see 80,000+ people not say a word, I mean, you know, I think the coolest thing for me was, to be honest with you, was, you know, beating Iowa was Chris Doyle telling me, you know, we did a good job.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'd be real. You know what I mean? Like, and him like pregame, like I remember in 2009, they beat the shit out of us.
Yep. Yes, they did.
In 2010. That's why we hit those ledge sleds back in the back of the weight room for 9 straight months. Everybody
Dealing with Adrian Claiborne. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's tough. That's a tough call. But I think when, like, you know, like thinking back to that, I mean, like we beat Nebraska. You know what that was. Like you had to outwork those guys in January. You know, luck, whatever. I don't know. I don't believe in luck. I mean, it's just preparation. You know, and not stopping, you know, belief. But beating Nebraska, beating Iowa, like that stuff. Like, just so cool to see the guys, to know what guys, what they did to win that game.
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, really like that's always what it's been about. Never about, I mean, it's never been about me. That's not what I got into this thing for. I got into this thing for that journey to see that happen. But yeah, I'm not a guy that's going to be out there later in the towel. I'm not going to be out there doing jumping jacks. I'm not going to be out there. It's like this. A guy gets hurt on the field. Mark Coley should be out there with the head coach, not the fucking strength coach.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't do that, man. Like I don't need camera time, man. Like coach should be out there, the head coach or doctor, or whoever it is. What's the strength coach going out there for? What are you going to do? I mean,
do some leg curls, man.
You know what you're doing? You're getting camera time. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't about you. The OC don't go out there from the sideline, does he? No. So that one, I'm just like, nah, I'm not. Yeah. I'll be the last guy coming out of the tunnel to make sure whoever is getting their ass out of the locker room because they want to be the last. I mean, you know, all that stuff. But I'm not going to be the guy that's running out the tunnel. I'm not going to be the guy on the sideline doing stuff. And I never was. Never was.
Yeah, I think
I was very, very crystal clear on a lot of that stuff too. Now I've said that in the interview process. If you're looking for some guy to be some clown on the sideline, that ain't me. I'll stay where I'm at, or I'll go drive a UPS truck.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really appreciate. You know, we kind of mentioned it before.
Same.
That like the fact that if for the listener, if you're hearing the fact that he's saying kind of what a lot of coaches will say, like, it's all about the players, but it sounds different. It's because it is different. And like the thing that I appreciate a lot, and you know, like I said, I was a walk-on. I was like the white guy in the running back group. It was like me and Tyler Leo and Brad Adams. There's like 3 of us. And it was always one of those things that like, as a walk-on, I'm not getting a shot, but in the weight room, I am. I'm getting a shot. I can lift with Alexander Robinson because we're squatting the same thing. He's the starter. I'm the 6th string guy. But you always knew that the show in the weight room was just to get you to be the best of what you could be for yourself. And so like the lessons that I took from football, I mean, yes, you miss the locker room. Yes, you miss the camaraderie and stuff. But I mean, granted, I work in fitness now and it's different because it's like a little bit different because you do. But the lessons that you get taught are show up and do your best. And it doesn't matter what you got. Are you starting with $2? You're starting with $1,000. It doesn't matter. You know, put the chips on the table and let it go. And then the fact of being honest and forthright with everybody. If you can be honest and forthright with people, they're going to respect you for more of what you're going to do. and I just have to make this like random weird transition from a nice thing to a thing that we have to talk about because Grant's teased it before. Talking about being honest and forthright. Do you remember making Mahoney wipe his ass with a rock after shitting in a training session?
Okay, hold on. I did not make him.
He did not make me. He did not make me.
That is not okay. So I ran the wave drill in tour 2. And you know, you got to go back in the staff room, and that stuff's filmed. And Coach Rhodes wants to know, hey, it's your station. Why did you not do so many up downs for those lows? Or why did you not start on time? Where's so and so? We watched it all, man. And so Mahoney comes sprinting up, and because I remember, so we had trash cans at every station, and all that stuff. You know, it's in the indoor.
And we're on the opposite side of where the bathroom is.
Yeah, I mean that's a 100-yard sprint. Plus you got to run by. You got to run by the head man. You got to run by everybody. Like pretty much. So you're gonna know you're like missing. So, So anyway, Mahoney's like, I got to shit. I'm like, dude. There's a trash can at this door, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. And he's like, I'm gonna go to the door. And I'm like, it's January or February, and I'm like, damn, like this is. And so you hear bang on the door, and I'm like, someone pop that door. Because we were getting ready to, we're literally getting ready to start. Right? It's like a 90-second turnaround, like on drill to drill. So I didn't make him wipe his ass with a rock. That was his choice. There was 3 options. Run to the bathroom, which you're gonna have to run by the head coach, and you're gonna have to do all that stuff.
Not gonna get back in time. Yep.
Yeah, so you got choices there. It was I just go out here in this corner and shit in this corner.
Well, the next drill. So after yours, we had to do the one where we chopped our feet and then we'd roll on our butts. And I was like, I'm not about to shit my pants and then roll and poop. So yeah, I had Randy Dorn, who was the manager at the time. He propped the door and just let it rip. And thankfully, he was ready to go. Nice little turtle head poking out, nice and tapered, and just found the smoothest rock I could. I only missed one rep.
Pretty amazing, to be honest with you. But of course, when it's February or whatever it is in Ames, Iowa, you're not gonna. That's what's crazy too. Like you're in a t-shirt, shorts, it's probably was. It's 5:45 a.m. start. Probably 6:30 in the morning. Sun's not up yet. It was probably well below 0, I'm sure.
Nice brisk dump. I would say it's probably one of the more refreshing ones though. After
it's like people talk about ice baths,
doing
just
all the drills.
There you go. It's just
doing
a
all
cold
the drills, and then you're hot and you got to poop and just some cool.
Were there? I mean, not to say like any someone taking a shit outside. Are there any stories, whether it's Iowa State or otherwise, that kind of just popped your head of like that was the fucking weirdest thing that I can remember?
To be honest with you, every day in an off-season program or in the weight room or outside there's an adventure to be had. That is for sure. I was telling my wife the other day about, I can't remember what we're talking about, but Austin Crick was brought up.
Okay.
Crick was I like Crick. He's a good dude, man. But I was, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I was telling her, I said, I know what it was. But I jumped my son's ass about something a while back. And she was like, you can't, you got to watch how you do stuff because, you don't want him to be always just worried about getting his ass ripped. I said, I learned that because I did that with Austin Crick. So I remember I jumped his ass. He was doing something else. He was a freshman, just all freshmen. That's all they do constantly. I was jumping his ass, and he just kept screwing up. And I get madder and madder. And finally, I was like, I was thinking myself, I think I'm the problem with Craig. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, I think. I say his name, and it's like, boom, he screws up, man. It's just like I'm the problem. And so I actually went to Crick, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm gonna stop. I think I'm doing you no favors. And so literally, I stopped, jumped his ass, and every single thing. actually did a good job coaching there. He actually was like way better. I had him in my group, and I'm lifting and stuff. So, I don't know. There's so many things. I mean, like I was on a Farniak the other day. Like his group, like when he was a redshirt, that was maybe, every morning was something. It was amazing. Like if you could.
Was that Pompeii? Was that the Pompeii years?
That was the next year.
Okay.
Arm was Bob Graham, Siobhan Dika, Brandon Jensen, Gannon, Ben Loth was in there.
Oni
was the next year.
Okay.
I think he was 11. Oni's a trip. But anyway, those guys were like, it was like Shaban one time was pressing like 70s dumbbells above his head and just lets them like fly out of his hands, like from the top, like up. I'm like, you stand there like in amazement, like how dumb was that? You know what I mean? Like, or dumping bars. It was something. With that group, that their redshirt freshman year, I think they were drunk everyone. You know what I mean? Like, like redshirt O-line and D-line guys. Like 6 of them. It's just like, you guys can't be that dumb. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that crew was something else. Whoa. They were fun, but they were a lot of up downs.
That is awesome. I want to go back to the shit story just for 1 second, because you brought up something that it was filmed. So did the coaches go back and watch the fourth quarters? So when I ran outside, did that get brought up at all? This coach was like, "Hey, what's Mahoney doing?"
No, because I think it was like, because it was literally because you made it back in time, if I remember right.
I missed one rep. Yeah.
Okay. So, I swear, like we watched it. Like we just mobile filmed that stuff. Like we watched it.
I didn't know that. Did you guys watch? So when Latimer clocked Albert Gary, did you guys watch? Like how many times did that get watched back?
Like super bad, just boom.
I remember walking in. That was a wild day there.
I don't know if I remember that.
Okay, so you might have been there. I don't know. So it was. Here's my recollection of the story. So we had to do. It was to backstory a little bit. When Grant shit himself, the drill.
I did not shit myself. I almost
shit outside in the rocks. So when the structure of that was our fourth quarter drill, and so fourth quarter meant to just like build mental toughness. It's in February. You're pushing way harder than you normally would, just because it's more mental toughness than anything else. And so you go from station to station and you do 6 stations, and it's 3 minutes long or 3:15 or whatever. And you have to, if you screw up, you have 5 up downs or burpees, whatever you want to call them, 5 up downs before you start the next drill. And there's only 90 seconds between the end of one drill and the start of the next drill. So if you have any more than 1 or 2, it's pretty much just straight through. So at the end of all that, you do what are called mat drills, which mat drills are all about reaction and not guessing. So everybody starts in a line, you line up, and there's 8 lines, whatever. And there's some command. You're doing just like ridiculous weird shit. It's like a somersault in, and then you have to like shuffle and whatever. And it's just about reacting and listening and paying attention. And
not messing up.
And the point is that like the number is usually really, relatively speaking, it's like 2 perfect reps where everybody in that group, whether it's 30, 40, 50, 80 people, everybody has to do it perfect. And if everybody does it perfect, rep counts. If people don't do it perfect, rep doesn't count. And what counts as a no rep is a loaf, meaning if I have to run through the 20-yard line and I kind of pull up at like the 18 and cruise through the finish line, somebody or EA or CO is going to say like, Woody, no rep or whatever. And like, shit. And so then at that point, the whole thing doesn't count. My recollection of the Albert Gary, Jake Latimer thing was that we needed like 2, like total. It might have even been 1. Like it wasn't a lot of mat drills, but at the end of all of this stuff, so you're working out for 45 minutes, the hardest thing you do all year. And Albert kept loafing, like kept not finishing like 2 or 3 reps in a row. And everybody just kept like, just collectively, like the whole team was like, Albert, just run. Like it's just effort. He's kept kind of jawing back because I think this was right when he came out of JUCO, so he still had a lot of bad habits in him, and he was jawing back at some people, and Latimer told him, finish, he started drawing back at Latimer. Latimer and his sledgehammer fist just went boom, clocked him, knocked him out. I think, as best I can recall, as people just dragged Albert out of the way, and then we finished mat drills while the trainers attended to Albert.
I don't remember this at all.
That, to my recollection, was how that happened, and it was like no one was like, "Oh man, hope Albert's okay." In that moment, everyone was like, "Finally, thank you."
Wrong guy to probably talk back to be honest. Lad was
Boy, we're gonna have Lad on here in a couple weeks.
He's a teacher now in Kansas.
head coaches. Yeah, I saw him. A couple of years ago at a clinic, actually. Tough dude, great dude.
Yeah, 100%. He's also, him and Pat Neal were the two guys that could come in smelling like Hawkeye vodka and still win every workout. And that, to me, is an incredible feat.
Cyborgs. Pat Neal is. I've never. Darius Reynolds up there, but I've never been around like that. Penalty run that we used to do is real. And I've never seen anybody. I've never seen the work capacity like I just haven't seen it. Pat Neal is a creature. It is
Pre-tech at like 235 pounds.
Oh yeah, so strong. I mean that dude, and Lat was right there with him, man. Like those two dudes are cyber, man.
That was one thing I wanted to ask you too, Yance, was like what are some of the more impressive things you've seen? Like we had Money on earlier, and like being a receiver, he was like stupid strong.
He had
for
like
his
a 360 pound power clean.
Yeah.
He couldn't even bend his wrist back because it was broken. So he literally just like reverse curled 350.
So I want to ask you, what's some of the crazier stuff you've seen, or some of the guys you'd be like, oh, like you should not be this strong.
And how much of that was Ethan Tufte?
Oh, man, tough and strong. Tufte, not only strong, but just how fat, like how twitchy he was. Like, like bar speed, like the way that dude. There's a guy we had at Texas, Sam Cosby, he plays for
He's an offensive tackle?
No, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Washington D.C. team. I don't know what they call it now, right now, to be honest with you. I think they changed it. Sam's pretty, he was really twitchy. Tufte, though,
Did you have to get an extra bar? Like, because I remember my recollection of Tufte's back squat was that it was like 775 or something like that. Like and he just crushed it, went up, and had to get in the bar.
1,000-pound test bars we had to get, and he wanted it, and I wouldn't let him go. Like I wouldn't let him go. I didn't even let him squat that whole offseason. I made him do plow press and deadlift, and I didn't even. Because his knees were kind of bugging him and all that stuff. And then on the test day, he wanted to test. I'm like, yeah, one night max. I'm running that was like that. And he goes over there and, squatted 7 something. It was insane.
Fat, too. Like, it wasn't just.
Oh, no. So the bar, like, that's what I mean. Like, because he hit like on a 10 unit, meters per second. He hit it. He did a power clean pull like a 420 meters per second. It was like 1.5. I mean, it was just like, I'm like this guy should be Tufte should have been either a power lifter or an Olympic lifter.
Yeah. If he was like a heavyweight Olympic lifter, like that feels like where his sport, because you look at like Lasha, whatever his name is, the Georgian, who has like a 585 squat snatch, and you're like, that dude, he and Tufte remind me of each other, because he had a 33.5 inch vertical too.
God.
At 330 pounds, Tufte had a 33.5 inch vertical. My vertical, like a 31.5. Like he outjumped me at 330.
I mean, plus, like I said, he's a 500-pound bencher too. He's one. Now, Oni's another one that's Oni was different strong. He didn't move the bar like that, but he's strong. I think Kelechi was impressive though. You know, for a guy that, I think he had an 86-inch wing and bench 450. Like his elbows, I remember almost touched the ground like bench press. He was, you know, for a dude, the way he was built, his makeup, like the way he's so long and such a short, compact torso. For him to clean, like he power cleaned 350 for a 6'6" guy that had that length of arms, like he was you know, length and all that stuff too. Like you take all that stuff into factor because it's even like that. Like it looked like you. I remember seeing gripping bar. It looked like he was gripping a toothpick. You know what I mean? It's a large. You know what I mean?
Yeah, another guy that comes to mind, at least to me, what was it like coaching Jeremy Reeves?
Oh my, JR. I mean that dude. Oh, like that pro day. Like I've never been on. There was a guy at Oklahoma State that I coached a long time ago, passed away now. Darren Williams, like the Broncos, corner. Him and Jeremy were a lot alike. Just unbelievable speed and strength and twitch and strength and mindset. Very, very similar. JR's shorter, faster, jump higher. They're very similar. Jeremy's wow, that dude's good.
He's my favorite onside kick target.
Yeah, because he can jump out of the gym. He was only like 5'7", but his 42.5-inch standing vertical, 4.27, 40 laser timed, I think, and broad jump like 11.5.
Yeah, for a 5'7" guy to broad jump 11, I mean, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like a tall guy, I mean, he can step 6 feet, you know, like pretty easy. You know, for a guy that's, you know, 5'7" to jump almost 12 foot is just, I mean, it's insane. But I remember too, like on his pro day, like the scouts didn't want to give him that time. You know, because we set up that huddle, so we see all like the numbers and stuff. And so we're like, man, we get that on time, we get that on laser, man. And they're like, you know, I'm like, come on, man. Like, I mean, you guys.
Lasers don't lie.
Yeah, but come on. Like that one was, yeah, he was pretty.
Having Jeremy on your team at the rec league, or like the rec center, like in a basketball, and when you go to dunk, people would be like, "What in the world?" Like this guy's so short. Like, what in the world? It was so great. Like, this guy's a freak.
Well, when he would jump, it felt like, you know, in Mario where you can just like jump and then do a double jump. Like it felt like his pace changed in the air on the way up. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, for him, like he came from Allen High School. For him to be a 3-sport guy at Allen, he's like, you know, track and he was basketball. He was good, you know, and they were good. Taylor was there, so like that's tough because the commitment, you know, down here, shit, just to be a 1-sport is ridiculous. One on the 3-sport guys, he was pretty wild. I mean, I've coached some freaky leagues, but Tufty's, well, I don't know, he's probably from 1A to 1B, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Okay. Just because you've coached at Oklahoma State, you've coached at La Tech, Rice, Iowa State, Houston, Texas. What is the difference? And did you notice a difference between being at Iowa State by the time you were a couple years in and kind of established? You got guys like KO, you got guys like, you know, Tufty, whatever. Was there a difference in the weight room between the Texases and the Iowa States, or was it more a difference on the field? Like from your perspective, what was the difference in the comparison talent-wise between those two?
Well, I'd say it was probably more. When I look back at like our, so I've kept records of every place I've been in, strength numbers, and the one thing when I go back and look at it, it's just simply what it is. The correlation of vertical jump and marathon. If we had high numbers in those, like we had team averages a couple of years at Iowa State for like 30, almost 30 plus team averages. And I think we had 60-some guys coming up through the Those were the years that we had good seasons. And when I go back and look at it, my 10-win season at Rice, we were almost 60 guys that were coming through. You know, at Texas, same thing. Our best year, Sugar Bowl year 2018 was our strongest and best. So it's crazy. And Houston the same way. Latte, it was almost identical. When I look at the best year of my time, wherever it was, it linked up to those two numbers. It's crazy. And squat was in there too. But squat and clean are almost, to me, it's like they kind of jump together. Because, you're going to be front squat at the time. You always front squat at the motion. Dead and quite a bit in power clean, obviously. But if your vertical jump numbers are high, your strong numbers are high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was usually the correlation between clean squat, 300 to 500 or 400 pounds. Most squat, 300 to 500 squatters. It was pretty much almost 1-to-1 clean and squat. So if we had anywhere from 55 to 60 guys that were squatting and cleaning 300 or over 500, where the averages were, like how much they were. Without that much here. It's crazy.
I was not a 300 pound.
Grant Mahoney, not a 300 pound squatter.
I was a 225. I think 225 clean.
Good on you. Everybody.
But so that was now how fast it got to that number, that was a little bit different. You know what I mean? As far as like guys, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I noticed a little bit maybe in Texas was what probably took me 2.5 years, took me a little less time in Texas. Numbers wise, like I can look at like Jeremiah George. JG came in weighed, I think, 195 when we got there. He was raw.
Stiff as hell.
Oh yeah, stiff. Very raw. But I think within 2.5 years, he was already, he was cleaning over 3, he was squatting over 5. What I would call Big 12 ready. Like there was a certain category your strength to your body weight relationship wise. It took him a little bit, like Joe Osai at Texas, a year, 1 year. But it was, it's always different on it too. JG's coming from Florida where it's a little bit more raw. Joe Osai's coming from Houston, Conroe. Good program, it was power clean. Lou Ianni sent me a video of him power clean 315 in high school. So, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy. So, him cleaning 315 walking in, and then when he walked out in 3 years, he was cleaning right at 400. Yeah. So that's it. It was just, I think it was just a little quicker as far as like what I could take. Like AJ Klein coming in was strong. Strong dude. He came from a great program, high school wise. He was there in Wisconsin. I think that was high school. Anyway, AJ was always, I think his ending numbers as a senior, he was a 405 bencher, 600 pound squatter, 350 something power cleaner at 235 or something like that. 36 foot. Him, that was the end of his 4 years, right? And it was funny. He comes to Texas and trains with us one summer for a couple of weeks. He was coming off an ankle surgery. I think he was still at the Saints at the time. Anyway, came to Texas, spent a couple of weeks with us, and trained. It was so funny. This is funny. This was 2018. He's in these stretch lines, 6 a.m. Here a guy is like, I think he's like 7 years in the NFL, or maybe 6. He's on a second cover of this. Anyway, he's in stretch lines. I'm like, dude, you want to do this? Yeah, I'll do it all. I'm like, all right, man. So it is what it is, man. I'm like, you screwed up. You're gonna get dealt with. He's like, that's cool. I'm like, all right, cool, fuck. So he's like, I just want to treat me like that. I'm like, all right. Anyway, so he gets his stretch lines. Of course, guys start screwing up. So we start helping them guys in there. It's like pre-stretch. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? I got an NFL guy back here, like, and he's doing air raids with you guys. Like, what are we doing, man? And it was so funny. But anyway, he jumps in there. He jumps in the lift with us. And we're deadlifting, like chain deadlifting, and we're rolling somebody. And he's like, man, I ain't deadlifting since I was at Iowa State. And I'm like, you good? He's like, yeah. He jumps in there, boom, and goes ripping it. And the guys are like, man, coach, like, he's strong. I'm like, dude, he developed that through 4 years of college, high school. Like, it's in him now. Like, it's there. It's not going away, man. Like, he can go back and touch that stuff and rip. I mean, so I think it just took a little bit longer, like advice from Iowa State, like, but not always though. You know, I mean, I can't say that, 100% all the time, but we would get some raw guys, and so they would get to those. If they put the work in, and they came and they were about their stuff all the time, they would get there. It might take another year or so quicker, but I had plenty of guys at Texas that didn't want more. They want more. They didn't put the numbers up that they should have or could have. I mean, no different than anywhere else. But if I were to put it, like parallel it, and that's what AJ said too. Working with Joe Side, he was like, "Damn, this guy," because he was afraid. He was like, "Damn, this guy's a freak."
I came into Iowa State pretty raw. I didn't know what a weight room was. Yeah, it's not gonna lie. Came in at 142, left about 187. So
all ass.
I appreciate
all ass.
Oh, I still got a pancake ass, man. I wish I had a dunk though.
Yeah, but 40 pounds on a kicker. Come on, bro.
That's right.
That's impressive.
Pure
Mahoney can tell you this too. I did not ignore the kickers. I did not ignore. I coached everybody.
You did.
So yeah, well, you're right. And that, you know what? Never has changed. I never changed that. I'm like, man, like if the dude's coming into this program and he's gonna get his ass up in the morning and come work and train, like I gotta give him respect. I got, because you never know. It might turn out like Nick Fett. I know the first team all Big 12. Carson, like I'm blanking out here.
I think that's about all I got.
Yeah,
I don't have any questions. I appreciate your time though, Yance. This has been fun catching up. And
yeah, it's good to talk to you again.
Great.
Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, guys.
That was Yancy McKnight. As we mentioned earlier in the show, one of the best coaches I've ever had. Obviously, unique perspective because I don't really have a position coach. But the thing I loved about Yancey, which I did mention in the interview, is that when we're in the weight room, he treated everyone the same and was just a hard ass, which that's how you should be. He was on your ass. We're in here to work. And then as soon as you're out of the weight room, on the field, it wasn't like dicking around, but just like he was like your friend. He was still keeping you in line, but still being a mature adult, but also not really being a hard ass because he out of the weight room.
And I think one of the things that I appreciate is if you were so fair, like that would be the adjective that I use to describe Yancey the most. If you were doing above what was expected or what was expected, he was going to be the jump on the table, say like, hey, this, I remember this. And I use the like Central Iowa thing. It's like, I'm in a running back room. I'm the slowest in the running back room. I'm not slow, but I am slower than the fast dudes. And like, Yancey, I would beat people in a sled push and the amount of energy he would kind of use to negatively, he talked about it with Austin Crick, like negatively kind of push somebody. He would also use that to positively reward somebody. And he knew that I really got juice off of getting recognized for doing what I was doing. And he was like, this white dude from Central Iowa is outrunning all you guys from Florida. And like, he said that loud enough that the entire team could hear it. And like, to me, that was like the greatest, it still sticks with me. Like the amount of, he is going out of his way to praise me for the effort that I was giving. And that was just the way that Yancey was all the time. If you met expectations, he was going to make you feel like an absolute champ. If you were not, he was going to make sure that you were aware that you were under expectations and either push or pull you. There was times when he would kind of coax someone out of it, but there was a lot of times when it would just be, get your ass, let's go. So like just fair. And that is just, I cannot appreciate. And everybody, if you talk to anybody that played for Yancey at any point what he was at, they would tell you the exact same thing. It's just one of the best.
It's so cool too that he mentioned, because we've asked so many former teammates, what do you miss most about playing football? And he hit the nail on the head. The locker room, like after practice, before practice, just kicking with the guys. Like that's so many guys say that's what they miss the most. Yeah, games are fun, practices or whatever, weight rooms, whatever. But it's like, the cold tubs, the hanging out in the locker room, just
pre-lift, eating a honey stinger and drinking a protein shake and just making fun of somebody's shoes. Like that's kind of fun stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. Fun to have him on. We've got some more fun guests lined up though. Taking you back down memory lane. So hope our listeners are enjoying this. You got anything else for us, Jeff?
No, I think that's it.
All right. That's all I got too. So thank you to all of our loyal listeners. We kind of got a long episode tonight, but as always, remember, adapt, don't shop.